Welcome to your new home. This is the Players U Podcast. Bringing players together in business, sports, media, and entertainment. Players U. For the players, by the players. By the players. Let's do the damn thing. Here's your hosts, Cartharn and Tyson.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Players U Podcast. It's your host, DC. Got my co-host with me,
Tyson. What's going on, everybody? How you doing today? It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, man. What's been going on, Ren? Any announcements you want to put out there? Anything y'all got going on right now?
We just got the last week of the Brick League coming up. This upcoming week, it's been a great 4 weeks. We end on the 5th week, so it's championship week. You know, you win and move on, or you lose and go home.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? You gotta win. Continue to get better every week. Y'all got anything else coming up over the next couple months?
Yeah, we do. We have the our beginners league coming up now. Register now. Those are for K through 6th grade, and then we also have our winter league approaching for those who are in only 5th and 6th grade only. So we got your beginners league, kids that don't, just want to get started. Register now at bricksports.org.
All right,
what about you, man? What you got going on, man, out there in Colorado?
Man, for me right now, it's just more the same, man. Helping guys get overseas, continuing to teach the game, consult, get guys taken care of. I mean, we're finally in October. Summer is over,
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Which in the overseas game, for those of you that don't know, I'm a sports manager and consultant. I have my own consulting company called the Cartharn Group. I'm also a partner, three-way partnership in a company called Task Force Sports. And we represent professional athletes overseas. We work with some NBA guys. We work with some coaches and things like that. But essentially, I try to help guys go pro and make better decisions while they are pros and transition from the game. And it's interesting we talk about this because I got guys who obviously are overseas right now excelling, but then I got guys who are at home that reach out to me and don't understand, like, look, it's October, man. Them deals you turned down in the summertime, they're no longer here. So end of the day, guys are always worried about the money, which I get it. We all got families and things to take care of, but no one's going to pay you if you're not on that court performing or on that field performing, right?
At all.
First things first is be healthy, be available. I always say the best ability is availability. That's just something I lived by. And you see guys at the highest level, they're consistently on that field.
Yes,
so with that said, that kind of takes me into the segments that we have today. I want to talk about the Tua injury that just happened in a game this past Thursday night. The Miami Dolphins, who were the Dolphins playing again?
Cincinnati Bengals last night on
Dolphins
Thursday night.
Bengals had the white jerseys on.
That was hard too. No, hard. Yeah. Helmets is hard.
That was crazy, man. But Dolphins been playing really good football. And for those of you that don't know, Tua the week before, 5 days before Thursday night, he actually got injured in the game and was kind of showing like concussion-like symptoms. He couldn't stand up a little bit, and they threw him back out there into the field. They ended up coming back and winning the game. And it was kind of talk all week, like, should he have been able to come back, right? At the time, nobody knows, but clearly there was something going on. And the NFL team put him back in. It looks like he didn't go through the true concussion protocols and came back into a game. And then Thursday night, we see the brutal tackle in the backfield, slammed his head and had his hands, it was looking crazy on national TV.
And they slammed him down like he was a rag doll.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, that kind of showed like the brutal reality of football, NFL football, right? At the highest level. This is how these guys feed their families. So with that said, I really want to dive into this, but we brought on a special guest, to kind of get an expert's point of view into this. We have Connor Barber, who is a strength and performance coach. I like to call him the head biomechanist here at Players U.
Yes, sir.
Anytime anything like this happens, whether it's injuries, sports performance, or preparation or anything like that, I give Connor a call or shoot him a text just to kind of get his viewpoint. So we want to give y'all an opportunity to hear from an expert in this industry, and we'll bring him on now.
What's up, guys?
Connor, how's it going, bro?
Going good. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, we good, man. We good. We appreciate you taking time out to join.
For sure.
Look, man, let's get right into it. So we had a conversation. We had a few conversations this week around just what's going on in the NFL as it relates to what Tua is going through, right? And the concussion protocols and seemingly the team bringing him back in to the field of play when he probably wasn't ready. I think there's a few factors there that we can discuss, but I want to hear from your viewpoint of like what happened and why did we find ourselves in this situation on Thursday night?
Man, what I just don't get at the end of the day is, these situations are serious. Now, my background isn't into the brain, so I don't know every little thing that goes on with the brain. But what I can tell you is I can read the research out there. I can read what experts tell us. And so and even just looking at I was looking at this situation and I was like, what, I'll dive a little bit deeper on it and let's see what we can find out. And we're looking at like 80% of concussions don't even get resolved until for somewhere between 10 to 14 days.
Wow.
So 10 to 14 days, we're already looking at a guy, okay, more than likely he's going to miss a game. And honestly, I've had a couple players who've gotten concussions, and honestly, they're missing somewhere between a week to 2, at least. I had a guy who had a concussion last year, got hit in the head. This was in basketball, and he missed close to 2 weeks, if not longer. And it's just, the brain is the brain. There's so much that can happen with it. And like you saw at the end of the play, kind of his, Tua's fingers are kind of like in this locked position. And that's just kind of a neurological response of what was going on with that brain, as the experts were explaining it. And it's just like, okay, like that's pretty serious. And that I think that kind of gave a lot more people, especially some of our general viewers, a better idea of what can happen when the brain's just hit a certain way. Like those fingers get locked in the position. And this guy looks like, oh my gosh, like he looks like he's been in a psychiatric ward or something like that. Something you'd see from that for the last 20 years. And his fingers are his fingers are permanently like that. Like that's the brutality of a concussion. That's the brutality of the NFL. And like you said, like honestly, like I look at the play and it was like, oh yeah, that was a hard tackle, but I wasn't like, oh, that was insane. I mean, that honestly, like any other sort of sack, in my opinion.
That was a routine play.
Routine play.
If you watch enough football, like these types of hits happen all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand, like, thinking of it from a player standpoint, how do you allow him to play on a short week? First of all, how does he come back into the game last Sunday, which is only a week ago, and then on a short week you have him come back and play again on Thursday, and you don't truly evaluate like what's going on? We had a guest on here, Malik Harrison from the Baltimore Ravens, and I asked him a question when we were in our interview, and the question was like, what's it like practicing against Lamar Jackson? And the statement he made was like, listen, my coaches told me from day one, you don't mess with the church's money. You always protect the church's money at all costs. So when he's in practice with Lamar, if Lamar's running or he's got a clear beat on him, he veers away from him. Like, no matter what, you don't even get within 10 yards of this dude. That's not the case in the regular game, but, like, you got to protect the church's money at all costs. What is it going to hurt the Dolphins to sit this guy out for 1 week?
Man, that's where, it's so hard to say exactly how much money is going on because, we're not just looking at the money of, okay, all right, we're looking at this Dolphins game, and maybe there's some money missed out. Maybe some tickets are sold, or people aren't buying as many tickets, or those last minute ticket sales aren't going up, which is going to affect, concession prices, all those different things. But then we got sports betting, which we know sports betting is growing every year,
Yes.
like more and more. And so this is where it's so hard to say how much money is on the line when it comes to these individual games. However, like if you're an owner, if you're a coach, and you're really thinking about this money, I mean, you always, in my opinion, you always got to think about that long-term money. It's like, you know what? Tua's having potentially an amazing year, potentially an MVP caliber season. And I mean, maybe it was crazy to think 3 months back, but now it's not so crazy to say, you know what, we could have a shot at all of this, and that's a lot more money down the road. But again, this is where people aren't necessarily focused on that long-term vision. Maybe they're just looking at this one opportunity, or maybe one opportunity to make some extra money, or I don't know. And that's the questions that come up when such a poor decision is being made, such almost a very uneducated decision is made like this, because it's like, look, we're literally putting so much money into the quarterback, and we all know that the quarterback, I mean, if you don't have a quarterback in this league, then you're screwed. You're screwed.
Definitely. I mean, that's wild, because they have a competent quarterback, a backup quarterback, I would say, in Bridgewater. I mean, he came out and did a great job against the Bengals. Tua having back-to-back concussions, man, that's pretty crucial for his, like you said, for his long-term success, potentially. But you have Bridgewater, so you could have just started Bridgewater and moved forward easily.
That's what didn't make sense to me, because I mean, you look at Bridgewater. Is he a Tua? Is he what is Tua quite yet? We're not sure. Like, he's definitely, he's not Tom Brady caliber. He doesn't have all that years of experience. We're not putting him up there with the grades of like Aaron Rodgers, even Russell Wilson, or some of these top guys in the league. So it's like, all right, we still don't know what he is yet. So with that being said, I honestly really would want to play this on the safe side for a game that honestly doesn't mean a whole. It's not a division game, so why not play Bridgewater, who has honestly some really solid experience? He's got 9 years in the NFL. Back in 2021, he put up 3,000 yards and had a 2-to-1 ratio on TDs to interception. So it's like, I mean, you can't really go wrong with that situation. And Tyreek Hill is going off right now. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we got a wide receiver who, if we need to, I mean, this guy, having Tyreek Hill put up 150 yards in a game ain't too crazy right now, I think.
For sure. It's funny too. The NFL just signed that new deal with Amazon for Thursday Night Football. It's crazy, but like all of this stuff matters, man. You know me. I'm always following the money. Like,
oh yeah.
When you get on a professional side long enough, you understand like a lot of decisions that are made have nothing to do with being smart. One of the best players sometimes has to do with the most return on investment, right? When I think about what they did, so I guess the end result was they fired the head doctor that was working with the team that decided to allow Tua to play. Now, if you've been in the locker room long enough at any level, NCAA D1, pro, even high school, the trainer doesn't really determine who plays and who doesn't at the end of the day. Like, I know that's like the job title, but at the end of the day, if the coach says, nah, we need to get this guy on the field or get this guy on the court, that's what's going to happen. So, like, I wonder, do y'all think that this was a scapegoat move by the team?
I think in any sort of situation that's going to be like this, whether it be, Tua with a concussion, or, I mean, honestly, we can even go back to injuries like KD's with his Achilles, and Klay Thompson with his ACL, and I mean, so many other ones that
RG3.
If you really look at all these situations, it's like, all right, there's more that's going on in play. And so my intuition would say that there is maybe a little bit more going on. Now, should the doctor still stood up for what was right at the end of the day? Oh yeah, for sure. But it's hard. It's, there's so much pressure, I feel, regardless of what position you are in on these teams.
I mean, even if you've seen Any Given Sunday, the movie, you got the real life situations where you talk about players are like, just get me in. I want to play. Tua could have been like that too. We don't know.
I'm pretty sure he was.
I'm pretty sure he was. And they said, according to reports, that he was tested every day. I know it was a quick turnaround. But he could have been like, I can play. I'm competent. I'm good. Let's go with it. But at the end of the day, I do think the right thing was to sit him out that game on Thursday night from a quick turnaround like that with a competent backup QB as well in Bridgewater.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's a good point. Like, let's just say he did pass all tests and was cleared to play. All of this stuff goes out of the window. But why fire the doctor if that's the case? So clearly there was something that went wrong that somebody didn't agree with last Sunday. Because why fire the doctor when end of the day, if he got cleared and that took all the necessary precautions, he got slammed on his head, which happens every play in football. Why would you fire somebody? So clearly something happened. Maybe they're protecting the coach, maybe they're protecting the offensive coordinator. You know, we'll see. Or maybe they're sending a message to the rest of the medical staff in the NFL as a whole, like, hey, look, we got to protect the church's money, right? Which, without quarterbacks in this league, I mean, honestly, like, we watch football to watch quarterbacks, to be honest.
Yeah.
We want to watch Tom Brady. We want to watch Aaron Rodgers. We want to watch Russell Wilson. We want to watch Herbert. You know, we want to watch all these different guys. Yeah, like, we want to watch, you know, Allen and Lamar Jackson play against each other. We want to watch these type of players. So Tua is in that second tier and he's working his way up. So, you know, best of luck to him in short term. But as we move forward, we're going to stick with the topics of just injuries in professional sports, college and high school. And Connor, something else that we always talk about here, man, just between us, is non-contact injuries in professional sports and collegiate sports. You know, why does it seem to be happening more, in your opinion?
Well, I think, so, I mean, as far as happening more, I mean, I was just talking to someone else about this today. Like, these athletes are playing more games, you know, are doing more training sessions, more of everything. By the time they reach 18 than what, you know, 20 years ago they were doing by the time they reached 30. Like, I mean, we look at each one of these sports. Each sport is easily all year round. Yeah. You look at basketball right now. We've got high school basketball to AAU, and then they've got their team stuff in June. They got AAU picks back up in July. Then they got fall ball that picks up in September. Yeah. And they'll get maybe August off. And then in that time, it's like, well, I got to get ahead of the competition. So, you know, they're going to do a bunch of stuff during that time, you know, on their own. So basketball is all year round. Soccer has always been all year round. You look at it, you know, there's spring, summer season. And, like, you know, if you can get a month with some guys on, you know, specialized work, that's big. Football is becoming that way with all the camps that are happening. Honestly, if you look down south in like Texas, Florida, Louisiana, football's all year round. The only reason it's not all year round up here in Ohio and, you know, northern states, it's too cold. Yeah. And there's not enough, you know, indoor facilities right now to accommodate all that can potentially go on. But football's all year round. So these athletes are playing way, you know, are already putting so much on their bodies. And then, you know, it's not that that's a bad thing, but they're not necessarily going about it the right way. They're not necessarily, you know, putting an extra emphasis, or we're not putting as much education, or we're not putting as much focus on, hey, when they're strength training, are they doing the right type of strength training? As, you know, are we prioritizing what's going to be used in sports? You know, when I'm working with guys, I'm utilizing a lot of single leg work, a lot of, you know, one-sided type of work, unilateral. And so that because these guys are making cuts off one leg at a time. They're jumping off the ground one leg at a time. And so, you know, we want to make sure that they're proficient enough so that things like an ACL tear, you know, they don't put themselves in that position as often. And that's honestly, I think that's what a lot of it comes down to at the end of the day is, because they're putting so much intensity on their bodies, they're, you know, kind of heading in this line. It's like, okay, we're going, you know, this is the straight and narrow path that we want to go. But because, you know, they're teetering off that line, and then they're doing extra work, so they're teetering off that line that we want to be, more and more and more and more because of the extra work we're putting in. Whereas, 20, 30 years ago, yeah, they could have deered off that line, but they're not putting in as much work. So they're, just slowly going off that, perfect or ideal line, if that makes sense.
Quick question. I wanted to ask you, do you think it's best to play multiple sports at a younger age rather than just be specialized in one sport? Because I've seen most athletes are beginning to become just specialized in one sport earlier than normal. When I was coming up, we played all sports. I mean,
Yeah.
until we got to maybe 10th grade year, then we were specializing in one sport.
I'm not sure if we can say one size fits all here, but one thing we should just be aware of, when an athlete does play multiple sports, is they're working on different skills. So, I remember Michael Redd talking about, he was just a basketball player, but he picked up tennis to work on his hand-eye coordination.
Mm-hmm.
I played baseball, and I really noticed the difference between my hand-eye coordination. And then you got, from a basketball standpoint, I mean, you build up a lot of endurance just playing basketball, or, a lot of players I remember at Ohio State, Aaron Kraft. I mean, that dude defense was unreal at another level, and he was quick, but he played a lot of soccer. And I mean, you got to have great endurance to play soccer, and the amount of footwork stuff that they do in soccer is huge. Guys will play football so that they learn how to be bigger. They'll do track because it's specialized work. So they're building kind of these skills in each of these categories by playing different sports. But if you can do that on your own training and understand that in your own training, those are some things that I focus on with guys. It's like, all right, hey, you're only playing basketball all year round, but how good is your coordination when you have to do slightly different moves, and just throwing elements of that. So that's really important for young athletes when it comes to developing, is kind of working on some of those skills that they may not work on as much in their primary sport.
Yeah, and one more thing too, because I've noticed as a trainer, I have been a part of more players that have, tore their ACL, the MCL, their Achilles. And I've been, for the past couple of years, really teaching and pushing and encouraging injury prevention. Get with a strength and conditioning coach early on than normal, just because it's more prevalent now in this time, and it's very serious. And I'm just telling all players out there, make sure you get with a strength and conditioning coach early on in life to begin working on certain stretches and combinations of drills to do before you hit that playing field or that court as well.
Definitely. Yeah. And honestly, I work with athletes as young as fifth and sixth grade. And for the most part, as long as they show a desire to, want to be better, it's easy to work with them in that environment. Shoot, I was 11 when I first started weightlifting. I was fortunate enough to where I had an older brother in college at that point in time. And so I just did his off-season training program with him. I was doing, more sports type of lifting at the age of 11 before I even did a barbell bench or just squat. We were working on just a lot of coordination stuff in the weight room, kind of the stuff that I work on with my athletes today. And so if they can get started with a really solid strength coach at, in my opinion, 5th, 6th grade, I think that's a really good time to get started.
Okay.
It's interesting you say that, and Tyson, you coach a lot of girls basketball players and women.
Right.
It seems that they have more ACL tears on average than males.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the data shows as well. What can our women and girls be doing to kind of prevent ACL injuries?
Yeah. So a lot of women tend to be extremely quad dominant, where they are relying heavily on their quads to perform movements. So learning to develop and, kind of use their hamstrings in, all the different movements that they're doing on the court, whether it be, side shuffles, being able to cut using those hamstrings. So one, just developing hamstring strength and coordination. And then again, just kind of working on that unilateral strength, being able to be strong and powerful off one leg at a time, as opposed to just doing squats or just doing deadlifts or, a lot of these movements that, they'll make your legs stronger, but how much carryover can we get to the field or the court?
No, that's big, man. That's great information, I think, for anybody, right? But especially our women, is like we see the push from the NBA and the WNBA for more girls to play basketball. But part of that, the injury rate might increase, and we need to protect some of these athletes from themselves. So I want to transition to something that happened a week ago as well, or maybe a couple weeks now. Sterling Shepard, wide receiver from the New York Giants, tore his ACL running a basic go route. He wasn't even sprinting, running down the field, non-contact. As soon as he planted his foot, and I saw him come up like kind of lame, I was like, "Oh, he tore his ACL." Because you don't see no other injuries happen non-contact like that unless it's an ACL or an Achilles tendon. A lot of times with nobody touching you. I saw Odell Beckham kind of tweet something out after that game, and he was just like, "Look, the NFL has to do away with turf. We need to get on regular grass. This is BS. I understand there's a lot of money involved, but we need to be on regular grass, and why can't we do that?" What are these strength and conditioning coaches in the NFL getting wrong? Or even training staff, because we're losing stars week by week. You know what I'm saying? The simple injuries. And it seems like I was looking up an article, more injuries happen at MetLife Stadium than any other stadium in the NFL, which is crazy.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Yeah, like do some research on that. Look it up. Like it's like I think Joey Bosa got hurt up there. Sterling Shepard, obviously Odell Beckham got hurt there. And a lot of these guys are losing themselves to season-ending injuries. And Odell's point was like the turf is really hard and matted. It's almost like concrete.
Yeah. It can be.
That's crazy to me. Like, and Connor, you showed me a video of Odell a couple days later doing a workout, a lift where he's like his knees and everything. His biomechanics is completely wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. I know you have some things you wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of makes you laugh a little bit. Just kind of maybe all right, yeah, you're saying one thing, but then on the other side, like, are you taking care of yourself? But honestly, no discredit to Odell at all. I think he's got a very valid point on how, what does turf do compared to actual grass. It's like, let's look at it as, what's easier landing on your body when you drop. Let's just say you're landing from like a 30-inch drop. Is it easier to land on concrete or a soft box? Like, and that's kind of what we're getting at there, is that, we want to think of maybe like that grass is kind of that softer box, and that concrete is being the turf. Like, you're also going to be faster off of the turf, off the concrete, but it's not going to be it's going to be a lot more brutal on your body than maybe that soft grass or that soft box, So there is some validity to his tweet there. However, at the same time, we gotta, make sure we're doing our due diligence all the way around. So, just kind of like I was talking about with, the women and their knees and, ACL tears, like, I don't care who you are. If you're at the pro level, or even at the college level anymore, honestly, like high school level, you should be having your own strength coach. You need someone who is in your corner, who is making sure they're doing their due diligence to make sure you're staying healthy, because these non-contact injuries don't just pop out of nowhere. They don't. Like, and I've seen it from athletes where, they're struggling big time with, mobilizing a certain port their joints. So like with the ACL specifically, if we look at that, guys are really struggling with, usually don't have a lot of mobility in that knee to begin with. And then on top of that, you look at the way they move on the, just in a weight room, and their squats are just atrocious. Their lunges are atrocious. And what I mean by atrocious is there's no use of their hip muscles. There's no use of those hamstrings. It's like all quads, all quads. And I can't tell you how many guys on Instagram right now are preaching, for deceleration, you got just build up those quads. Just build up those quads. And I'm like, all right, you don't even have to be a biomechanist to figure this out. If you've got, this is where I'm doing a little series on my Instagram, like you've got your quads, but then you've got your hamstrings, which surround your knee. And then you've got your calves, which is also actually, attached right around your knees. And then, we talk about up the chain and you got your glutes, you got your groin muscles, you've got your abductors. I mean, there's just so many different ones. And just to kind of put a blanket statement that says, hey, just train this one muscle group and you'll be okay. I mean, you can tell me right now that that doesn't seem right. Like, if you want to be a good basketball player, do you only work on your 3-point shot? No. Like, what if someone figures out your 3-point shot? Then you got to, be able to take a dribble, take a side dribble or whatnot. Or maybe you have to pull up a little bit, go for a 15-footer or something like that. You can't just be one dimensional.
Nah, for sure. That's a great point. And a lot of people don't teach. And that's why we wanted to have you on today. Because there is a science to this. There's a science to being a pro athlete. There's a science to being in shape. Like, people always want to debunk science, but it is what it is, right? Like, the truth is the truth. And one thing I've always hated when I was in college, man, I've torn my ACL a couple times. My strength coach, and I'm not going to name any names, but he would be like, ACL injury is an acute injury. It just happens at that moment. I'm like, yeah, but we've been training the wrong way for 3 months, and I know it's the wrong way. I know how I feel every day. You know what I mean? Like, as an athlete, one of my trainers would always tell me, like, a pro knows how to fix his own shot. A pro knows how to fix his body, in a sense, because he's educated himself and he's invested into his learning, right? And then it's a case study. It's a simple case study, but there are things you can do that will increase the probability of an injury. So, like, saying that it's just an acute injury, I don't believe, like, a guy like Sterling Shepard, who is an elite world-class athlete. To play in the NFL, you're a world-class athlete. I don't care if you're Tom Brady. Yeah. There's something Tom Brady does physically that's world-class, right? Even if it's just his vision or his pinpoint accuracy, he doesn't have to be the fastest, but he's world-class at what he does. For a world-class athlete to tear their ACL on a non-contact injury with no one within 5 yards of him, there's something else potentially that led to it, So we have to understand, and athletes, like, don't be afraid. Like, you might know a little bit more than some of your coaches and your strength coaches. Nobody gonna say that, but it's true. Now, you might not know everything more than them, but there are going to be things you're going to be more educated than them on, and that's why they call the NBA a players' league. Players run the NBA, bro. Like, a lot of like LeBron James is smarter than probably 8 out of the 10 coaches he might have had in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Is what it is. And he's not the only one. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see former players become coaches. Like Rondo, probably smarter than most of the coaches he's ever had as well. That's why everywhere he goes, no matter what you think about him, teams perform better. Patrick Beverly, same thing. So, I don't want to get caught in this rabbit hole, but Connor, man, we appreciate you hopping on and giving us some insight, educating.
Yes, sir.
That's what we're about here at Players U, man. It's really just educating players on the business of sports. Yeah, everything that goes around with it, right? Like the inside, getting that inside look that you don't typically get just being a fan. But with that said, where can they find you, man, on your social media or your website? Where can they find you and connect?
Yeah. So probably the best place to find me is on Instagram, Connor_Barber_. That's probably the best place to find me. I'm on there all the time, just honestly giving out just free education on how do we, take better care of our bodies, and what certain movements can we help ourselves, not just, be more, maybe less injury prone, but also performing better for your game. So like those are things I'll go into topic on. I'm always happy to, if someone messages me, I'm always happy to DM right back. That's kind of why I have that platform, is to help out as many people as I can. So Connor, CONNOR_Barber_.
Nice. Do you have like virtual or remote workouts that you offer as well?
So actually, yeah, we're just opening up. We just started opening up an online platform. So if you're interested in that, definitely DM me. We're getting that rolling out here. We've got several of our college guys who are taking advantage of that, since they're not with me right now. And that was something that we had a conversation about, and kind of like we're having this conversation right now about. It's like, okay, we want to make sure that we're kind of filling in those gaps of maybe what your strength coach is or isn't doing, just to make sure that you stay healthy for the season or performing at your highest level.
Absolutely. Yep. So we appreciate it, man. We appreciate you hopping on the show.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
On this segment. End of the day, I always lead this and I always think about this when I talk about Connor. The best ability is availability. Period.
Facts.
No matter what. So, Connor, we appreciate you, my man. We'll bring you back on here soon.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Yep.
Appreciate you, Connor.
All right. Ren.
What's happening?
You know, it's our favorite time of the year coming up. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
sir.
It's NBA season, man. We got a few weeks left before the season starts. I think what is it? An earlier tip off this year?
Yeah, it's starting the 18th this year.
October 18th.
Yep.
You know, man, it seemed like we were just watching the NBA finals, you know, a month ago. That's how it feels, right?
So, right, definitely how it feels.
Yeah. So as we go into this NBA season, man, what are you what's your expectation? Like, what are you looking for? What are you excited to see?
The first thing I'm looking for is everyone to be healthy. Can we have a healthy NBA, which I know that's hard to say. It's probably not going to happen, obviously. But if we could have an NBA, at least the NBA playoffs and finals, everybody's healthy. Everybody's healthy.
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer.
I know, but you gotta have some expectations. You gotta hope.
I mean, it's a circle of life, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, it's unfortunate on one end where it's like, you know, we don't want to see, you know, guys like the top 10 players, top 20 players get hurt, right? We don't see anybody. Right. But at the same time, sometimes injuries, man, open up the door for the next guy.
Right.
And that's, it happens, right? It happens. But with the NBA playing so many games, so much travel, so much training and practice over the summer, like, it's almost inevitable that it's going to happen. I mean, you got to think we already starting the season off with Chet Holmgren out for the year.
Yeah, he's done.
Somebody I was excited to see. You know what I'm saying?
Robert, was it Woods or Williams?
Robert Williams is already hurt. You know, hopefully us Laker fans can get a full season of Anthony Davis.
You know what? I'm eager to see how LeBron plays in his 20th season, too. I mean, this is year 20, bro. 37 years old, about to be 38. I'm eager to see how he plays. And can he really help be a part of his team and lead L.A., you know, back to the playoffs?
Yeah, but playoffs ain't enough for L.A. Like, you got to.
Well, I know, but I'm saying they didn't make it last year. So, I mean, got to get back in the playoffs first.
Man, it's championship or bust with LeBron. I don't want to hear about no playoff talk. It's championship or, like, for real. I mean,
he's championship or bust. I agree with you.
He championship or bust. Like, I don't care, like, about them being in the playoffs. I want to see them compete at a high level all year and get a top 4 seed with a first-round home court advantage. That's what I want to see.
I want to see that as well. When I want to see on the East, I want to see Brooklyn come together and be dominant this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about. To be honest, like, if you ask me, there's any team I'm excited about and I'm really eager to see. Like, I really want to see Brooklyn. Like, I love Kevin Durant's game, man. I think, like, offensively, he's, like, damn near a perfect player. Offensively. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Scoring that ball. I think Kyrie is the most skilled, probably one of the most skilled point guards we've ever seen. Easily top 3, top 4. And then you got Ben Simmons. Like, I really want to see what version of Ben Simmons we're going to get.
You know, I just heard Steve Nash just say, I don't care if you don't shoot the ball at all.
I don't
just pass the ball, play defense, and run the floor.
I mean, when I think about Ben, I think about Lamar Odom. And it's funny. I was just watching, I don't know why, man. I was up late, I think Friday night.
Okay.
And I watched the 2010 NBA Finals with the Lakers versus the Celtics. And, man, I forgot how good Lamar Odom was, bro. Like, I'm talking like
for real.
7-foot point guard, could shoot it, rebound, play defense at the rim, could handle, was smart. Like, that's who Ben Simmons reminds me of. Like, if he could be, and he's honestly more talented than Lamar. Like, he's a little more athletic. He has, like, that potential to be a real superstar in this league. Like, Ben Simmons is like a poor man's LeBron when it comes to the way he, you know, distributes the ball, can rebound, pass, guard multiple positions. He just can't score like Bronny do. So I'm excited about them. I think having Ben, he can guard the Giannis's and the Middletons, and then he could go down and guard the Steph Currys and then guard LeBron. Like, it's not many players in the league that can do that, bro. You know, and you got to guard him on the other end because he can still get to the rim.
But the key is he going to be mentally tough this season? That's the key. You got to be mentally tough in this NBA.
Yeah.
So it's just life. Forget that. You got to be tough in life.
And they don't have a real like established. I mean, they have a leader. Kevin Durant's a leader, like, but he's not like that Chris Paul, LeBron, you know, Kobe type leader. He leads in his own way. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing about KD, he gonna be on that floor every night, and he gonna show up every night. He gonna work like a professional. But it's interesting to see, like, when things get tough, are you going to lead from the front or take a back seat? And
we seen him take a back seat last year.
Well, they was hurt a lot last year, and they had the James Harden situation. You know, like KD performed, and then you don't have Ben Simmons. It was a lot of stuff going on.
No, there definitely was a lot of stuff going on. But if that was, once again, LeBron, they dogging LeBron out.
LeBron ass was at home. I don't want to hear about
LeBron.
LeBron was at home, bro. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about him and all this.
Man, they got put out in the first round too, man. Come on.
They got put out, but they was there.
They got swept.
They were there.
Put it like that.
And the Lakers.
Bye.
and the Lakers was gone fishing before they didn't even make it to the show.
They didn't even make it, bro.
They didn't make it to the show. But look, let's end the show off here, man, with some controversial stuff when it comes to
what we got going on, man.
We got this ESPN top 20 players list. I feel like they get it wrong every year. That's just my opinion.
Do they do that on purpose, though? It seems like they do it on purpose just to get people to talk and debate about it. Or do they really think this is what it really is? They really think?
Honestly, bro, I think this is what they really feel. I think there's somebody in the back room doing the whole analytics thing and looking at it from an analytical number, putting it into a computer model and saying these are going to be the top players this year. They don't go off past results. They go off what they project is going to happen this upcoming season. So let's kind of go off this list. How we want to go? We want to go from the top to the bottom, or from the bottom to the top?
Let's go from the where we gonna go? We're gonna start at 10, or we're gonna go all the way down to 20? Do we need to go to 20?
I think we need to go to 20. We don't need to go over the whole list.
All right.
But
Let's start at 20.
Yeah. We can start at 20.
So we have let me pull this up real quick, man. My bad. A little slow, y'all. My bad.
It's looking like right now at number 20, we got Anthony Davis.
Sheesh.
Right?
20.
I think we got AD at 20. And in front of AD, we have Bradley Beal at 19.
Okay.
Rudy Gobert at 18. Jimmy Butler, Trae Young, and then you got Paul George at 15. I got a problem with that.
I got a problem with Anthony Davis at 20, man.
You don't put AD at 20 and Rudy Gobert at 18. I don't even think Bradley Beal better than Anthony Davis.
Nah. Trae Young? Trae Young at 16?
You think you got Trae Young over AD right now? Or you don't?
No. No. Trae Young do his thing, but no, he's not better than it.
Trae Young was in the tournament, bro. AD wasn't. All right, so my question is this: where do you put AD? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a top 5 talent in the NBA. You feel me?
Right. But from what we've seen in the past, I would say he's at least he's 15 right now. I'll say he's at least 10 between 10 and 15. Right now.
AD got to be a top 15 player in the NBA, bro. That's just my opinion. What's y'all's thoughts? What y'all think about that?
Definitely.
You know, in the comments, man, tell me who y'all's top 10 players, top 15 players in the NBA are in order. You know, also like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Players U Media, at Players U Podcast. You know, follow us on Instagram at Players U Media and on Twitter. You know, we also have a Facebook Players U Media group. You know, make sure you like and subscribe so we can continue to do more content for y'all. But So
Kawhi not even the top 10.
Kawhi at number 12.
Sheesh.
James Harden at 11. I'm sorry, James Harden's not better than Kawhi Leonard.
Nah, not at all.
He's a two-way player, But is James Harden a top 10 player in the NBA?
No.
Damn,
He's outside looking in. He's outside looking in the top 12. I'll say he's 12 or further on. He is not in the top 10.
All right, so we're gonna go into the top 10.
Yeah, let's do that.
We got Devin Booker at 10.
Yep. No.
Ja Morant at 9. This is crazy.
Sheesh.
Kevin Durant at 8.
Come on, man.
Jason Tatum at 7.
No.
LeBron at 6.
No.
That's the top. I'm sorry, man. Sorry.
My man had this LL Cool J look on, about to get mad. He looking like in Too Deep, the movie In Too Deep.
There's not, to me. Look, they're gonna hear. Look, today, there's not. I just don't think there's 5 players in the world better than Kevin Durant and LeBron James.
Come on, man. Let's be honest.
That's just my opinion.
Giannis, KD, LeBron, Luka.
And I can't say Devin Booker
I can't.
is better than Kawhi Leonard.
No. No.
This is what I'm trying to say. You feel me? Like it's really insane. And then we got the top 5. We got Steph Curry at 5, nonsense. Joel Embiid, Luka at 3, Jokic at 2, Giannis at 1.
The top 3 should be Giannis, KD or LeBron, and KD or LeBron at 3.
Hey.
4, Luka. I gotta go Luka 4. And then the top 5. I don't know who that 5th person is. That's kind of tough right there.
I'm gonna give you my top 5, and people ain't agree. I gotta go Steph Curry, number 1 player in the NBA.
Number 1?
Right now, bro, this dude just won a championship with a team that shouldn't have won a championship. Let's just keep it real. He should have been the MVP. Now, I'm not saying he's more dominant than Giannis or any of these guys. Reigning champ, you the best player in the world. He the best player on the best team. Number 2, I'm going to go Giannis. I'm going to go Giannis number 2. I mean, LeBron don't have the same effect on the game that Giannis is having right now. Even though he's great. Then number 3, I'm going to go Kevin Durant. I'm going to go Steph, Giannis, KD. And don't get me wrong, Steph is not better than KD like his whole career. But right now, he's the world champ. And you got to remember that Warriors team was in last place the year before. Damn near. So they were in last place the year before that. Then last year, before this season, 2 seasons ago, they lost to the Grizzlies in the play-in.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and then they come back and win a championship. So then from there, I gotta go LeBron, Luka at 5. I'm sorry, Jokic at 5. Luka at 6. I'm gonna go Embiid at 7. And I'm gonna just leave it right there. Because it get a little too close. Them last few spots, you could go Kawhi, you could go like I can't put Ja Morant over Damian Lillard, bro, right now. Not yet.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I just can't do that. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't do that yet, bro. Like, Dame ain't really never missed the playoffs. He missed last year because he was hurt.
I'm going Giannis, LeBron, KD, Steph, Luka, top 5.
Not the back-to-back MVP and Jokic.
Jokic is 6, bro. Jokic is 6, and then Embiid is 7, like you said as well. That's it. Jokic ain't did that in the playoffs.
Y'all doing Jokic like Steve Nash back when he won back-to-back MVP. I can't do that, bro. Back-to-back MVP got to be.
Come on, man. Don't be like that because you in Denver and Colorado. You might see Jokic out on the street, man. Don't do that.
I be seeing his brother, but
don't do that, bro.
I'm gonna tell you this much: this is the interesting thing about the ESPN ranking, and the top 4 players in the world that they have: Giannis. Who's number 2? Is it Luka?
Yeah, Luka and
Giannis, Luka, Jokic, Embiid.
Yep.
I mean,
in the top 10. That's 4. What'd you say? That's 4. Was it international players?
I'm sorry, they got Jokic number 2. It's Giannis,
Oh, okay.
Jokic, Luka, and Embiid. Them are 4 international players. You know.
So what's that telling these young people out here, these young players coming up in the United States? What's going on out in the league?
Y'all better get in the gym. I'm gonna just be real. Like, if the top 4 players in the NBA are from overseas, and we're seeing like more of these guys show up on college rosters, we're seeing even the top pick next year is probably
Victor. Yeah, he coming in next year from overseas.
He's going to be the top pick coming from overseas. LaMelo Ball went overseas and is one of the top young prospects in the NBA. Like, I just think if you're a young player, man, you really got to be working harder and smarter than ever before, and you got to execute because they no longer have to go to the inner cities to get the best players. They can go overseas. And they're not even going to the inner cities anymore. It's like a lot of the top players are coming from the suburbs now, bro. People that got resources and opportunity to and money to invest into their game. Like, I just think it's about to get harder and harder for some of these younger athletes, man, to make a difference because they're going to the G League and they're going overseas for the top players in the world. And before you know it, they're going to have half the NBA be foreign guys.
Yeah, and they're about to go, the age limit is about to decrease, right? You're going to go 18-year-old?
Yeah, they're about to drop the age limit. Like, and I don't think, like, the best players in the world are from overseas, but I definitely think there's an agenda by the NBA. Because at the end of the day, bro, I always tell you, you got to follow the money. And the money, the year-over-year growth is going to come from ticket sales, jersey sales, overseas.
Yep. And they just got back. They just had a game with China?
No, they was in Japan.
Japan.
Against the Washington Wizards. Rui, he plays for Washington Wizards. He's from Japan. So they're going to go over there and grab that market share. So now, coming back on the heels of that, you're going to have fans in Japan ordering NBA League Pass. They're going to be getting NBA TV. They're going to be buying tickets. They're going to be flying over here to buy jerseys and go to games. Like, and it's about to inspire a whole youth. Like, China got more basketball players than we have people in the United States. That's crazy. That's an interesting statistic. At some point, they're going to have another Yao Ming type. Like, the NBA is just going to continue to go to these places. Like, look, the NBA is going to Africa again with the Basketball in Africa League. Like, that's telling you that they're going over there to mine talent all over again.
Yep.
So, overseas players, y'all have an opportunity like never before. Like, if you're a guy that comes out of college and got to go overseas, like, it's not a bad thing to do that because you're going to be getting scouted over there too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting what the NBA is doing, but at the end of the day, these foreign guys ain't playing, bro.
At all. They're not playing at all.
They about to push LeBron and KD out the league and take over. And the guy look at the top young guys. LeBron and KD, they year 15, year 20.
Right.
You know what I mean? After that, we talking
Ja Morant,
Jason Tatum, Devin Booker.
That's it. 3 guys.
That's tough. Because the rest of the top 20, Damian Lillard is in his 30s. James Harden is in his 30s. Steph Curry is in his 30s. LeBron, KD, Anthony Davis is about to be in his 30s. Yeah. Bradley Beal, he might be in his 30s or about to be. You got, who else is in there? Jimmy Butler in his 30s.
Dang, all them guys is about to be out the league. Dang.
They're about to be out the league in the next 5 to 7 years, while Giannis and them is just now going to be touching their 30s. Luka going to be 29, 30. Like, Victor Wembanyama, Mama, whatever his name is, however you say it, he going to be 24.
Dang.
Like, the league is getting younger and it's getting more diverse. You know what I'm saying? They're going to start grabbing all the top talent. Before you know, the top 15 players in the world is going to be foreign guys. So
let's go, youth. Bring it up. Start it out. Let's go.
Yeah.
Stay in the gym. Grind.
For sure, man. So you want to end this off with anything, Ren?
Just remember, everybody, stay faithful, fearless, and focused at all times. We appreciate everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and peace.
Yep, appreciate it, y'all. Look, end of the day, the best ability is availability in anything you do. So we're gonna leave it at that. Players you.
Players you.
You've been listening to the Players U podcast. For the players, by the players. Carthorne is an ex-overseas pro basketball player and manager. And Tyson is a trainer, coach, and sports management league developer. So you might say they're qualified to talk about it. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review the show. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at Players U Media. That's Players, the letter U, Media. Y'all be cool. See you next time.